Hey guys, thanks for everyone for attending today's follow-up. Um, the other day we did a presentation on really sizing up our competition, especially the very large companies, Square, Stripe, PayPal, and a few others. Today was really meant to be a follow-up to that presentation. A lot of Q&A if you guys have any, but a bunch of people on the call today were not part of the first one. So we're just working on getting that set up. So we're going to quickly go through it again. In the meantime, if the people who were on it from the last time have any questions, start to um, send them to me. Again, we started out really talking about Square, and then we really talked about the e-commerce world, which I've been focusing more on lately after not really focusing on all and talking about Stripe and PayPal and Shopify and how we can either work with them or compete with them and what their strengths and weaknesses are and how we can build our own e-commerce platform so that we can get that type of business. Again, I'm hoping to get it visually for you in a minute, but I'm going to go off of memory for now, and I apologize for that. But first, we talked about Square. I think most of you guys actually know a lot about it, but we kind of hit all the numbers that they're really in the 2.9 to 3.5 range, depending on the type of card, whether it's present and how they're functioning, that they are a very well funded quality technology company that's really focused on the POS market, and actually the lending market is really where they're going. For the very small merchant, because there's no monthly fixed costs, it is a good option. Um, so we got to realize when we're looking at 5,000, maybe 10,000 below, sometimes that's going to be their best option. And if someone really pushes back to you on the 10, 20, $30 of fixed costs, those are maybe one of the only times you walk away. But other than that, you can price against them. You have to highlight, obviously, the interchange transparent model and why it's a benefit to them. You can also create a bundled pricing mechanism that you need to go through the corporate office to create to confirm that it's still going to be profitable. But you can even win on price against Square. And then what we talked about, and I always talk about in all these professional development presentations, is you need to sell on personalized service and customization. That these big, well-funded companies have none of that, obviously. I'm going to give an example and just digress for a second in that I do a lot with law firms, which we've talked about, and I know some of you I've talked about specifically with in the future and helping grow that business. But there's a huge national company called LawPay that's very well funded and a good company, but they do nothing on the grassroots level, nothing granular, nothing personalized. I've had clients who saw them at big conventions and they never even followed up with them because they just don't do that kind of thing. It's the same thing with Square. They know Square, it's well funded, it's well advertised, and very small it works. But other than that, you should always win partly on price and partly on personalization. They do have good technology in the POS arena, and they're decent on their API for integration to e-commerce. And that's really what we talked about on Square. I'm curious for you guys to comment and ask questions, but in general, they're really not a competitor of ours because most of us are not working on that very low end market. But that's really everything you need to know about Square. I have a presentation here, not for you guys to see, but at least I can talk to you about it again and again from a pricing mechanism. They're at about 275 on Swipe, 290 on invoice and e-commerce, between 90 and 30 cents that is. And virtual terminal and key, they're actually at 3.5%. So purely on price, we can really beat them other than those 10, 20, $30 of fixed costs that you're going to charge or that you have to charge. They do have a model now of 1% for same day deposits, not next day, but same day. That's pretty costly. So I'm sure we'll get there eventually. They do have no PCI costs. They do cover chargebacks up to $250 monthly. So you should be aware of these things because those are pretty good benefits they have. There is some cost to the hardware for EMV and up, but in general, that's Square. PayPal is more interesting because they have different models. Their direct model is 270 for direct in store, 290 plus 10 cents for e-commerce, 310 plus 30 cents for virtual and 3.5 for Amex in general. So again, from a pricing mechanism, we should beat them. I just got a law firm who was on PayPal under this model, and it was a very easy win. You do have to explain these little fixed costs because the one benefit of these big companies is they don't charge as much of these very small fixed costs. It's all bundled. PayPal is good with their API and integrating into e-commerce. So that is a competitor when you go into the e-commerce world. Again, we talked last time about creating our own platform, whether it's through WooCommerce or someone like Magento, and working with local web developers to have a gateway/shopping cart platform that we can do ourselves. PayPal's customer service is awful. You should also know that PayPal does have PayFlow Pro, which is a product, a gateway that we can use. And once in a while, for certain types of industries, we integrate through them. So don't think just because someone says PayPal, we can't do business with them. We can't do the direct model, but we can through PayFlow Pro. Next, we talked about Stripe. Stripe is very clean. They're $2.90 and 30 cents. They have an amazing API e-commerce solution. That's going to be one of our biggest competitors in e-commerce, but there is no personal service. Again, we're going to have to work with web developers and our gateways to create an alternative that is more cost effective and still web developers thinks is just as good a solution as the Stripe. But again, Stripe has a very strong API. Shopify is a little different. They're really a website supporting company. They support small businesses for website support. They've kind of monopolized their processing because, as we went over last time, it's generally their basic service is $29 a month, $270 direct retail in store, $290 plus 30 cents online, and a 2% penalty to use someone like us, a ISO. So we're going to catch up here from a technology perspective. Here we go. So $29 a month, $270 in store, $290, 30 cents online, 2% penalty to use someone like us. Their middle product is more costly, and then it's 2.5% in store, $260, 30 cents, and 1% penalty. And if it is a very sophisticated, higher end e-commerce solution website, it's $299 a month, but then it's only a half a percent penalty. And that's something we could probably integrate with. But in general, Shopify has become a direct competitor of ours. So how do we compete? We compete again partly on price through either a transparent interchange model, or we can work with our home office here to create a cheaper bundled rate than what these companies are doing. Personal service is huge. Like any product, you need to convey that you're the point person when there is a problem, a question, where with these companies, there is none of that. I find that WooCommerce is one of the best open architecture solutions that uses USAE Pay or Auth.net or most of our gateways and gives you a e-commerce solution that, along with trying to align yourself with a web developer, is really the best way to go and do e-commerce on your own. I'm partial to USAE Pay, but a lot of web developers are just used to Auth.net, so those are the two solutions. And again, I found that web developers can become a great referral partner. So it's two birds with one stone, where you can create a great e-commerce solution while at the same time maybe developing a referral partner. That was really the presentation last time. I hope for the guys who are on here for the first time, it's helpful, a lot of information, and can make you rethink how to position yourself against Square and, most importantly, in the e-commerce world. I'm going to give it a minute or two to see if any of you guys have any questions, comments, thoughts, experiences that you've gone through in the field yourself. While we wait for that, some of the next ones we're going to work on is we're going to have a presentation on all the plugins, specifically to work with Quicken. I think it's a market that people in general are really under focusing on. Again, I landed a 20 store chain, smoke shop chain, because we used Verosa and we plugged in, created great service, great support, great integration. And we do have solutions for almost all of our gateways. Also probably going to follow up again with another B2B Paytrace. I know most people don't put too much time into it, but it's a very untapped market. I know it's in the afternoon. I know you guys got a lot going on, so Unless we have any questions, we're going to move on from this competitive commentary we just discussed. Appreciate your time. I hope you guys are having a good day and some successful sales out there. Lastly, again, there's a big focus on law firms. We've created this additional vertical to focus on law firms. If you have any questions, please email them to ProDev@GoEPSG, and I'll be happy to help you go after that market as well. Thanks, guys.